Hello everyone, you know it's time. We are finally here. The Final Destination ranking video. Your boy Norn Rad has recently gone through over the channel the last couple weeks and reviewed every Final Destination film. We have 6 films to rank, and this is really fun because this is another one in the bag. I've done a lot of rankings where we've done Puppet Master, Leprechaun, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and now Final Destination is in the bag. Today you're going to hear my thoughts on this franchise as a whole, but I'll also have a card in the top corner, one of these sections you could click on where it'll go in depth and details where you can look at my playlist if you want any specific, thoughts on any particular movie in this franchise. So let's do this. Roll it. So Final Destination franchise is definitely a fun popcorn horror fans flick, you know what I mean, in terms of franchises, because it just offers a very simple formula. It's got new tropes that it introduced to the genre. When this one came out, that first film, it was definitely genre bending, introducing more of an entity as a slasher and everything, and just having these really creative deaths, these cool characters to grab onto and latch onto. And like I said, the franchise has spanned many decades now, so let's discuss this. But of course, there has to be one at the bottom of the barrel. Coming in at number 6, I don't think this was any surprise, was The Final Destination. Yes, The Final Destination, the 3D, the trash, just this one just doesn't offer me anything. This is the one that I can take it or leave it like out of this franchise, because I view this one more as like a spoof film. I don't care about any of the characters. I think in terms of premonitions and even the deaths, and especially that intro premonition, I think they look absolutely the worst. This is the most CGI heavy and the one that leans heavily into the 3D gimmick. So a lot of it, like I said, if you saw it in theaters, it might have been a good time. That might have been fun. I saw this at home, and just every time I watch this film, I'm just felt with like, no, I can take this one out of the franchise and it wouldn't bother me at all. Coming in at number 5, we have Final Destination 5. I know that's ironically, this one is just a step up from the Final Destination for me. There are moments and stuff I like about this one. This one does try to add new lore stuff into the franchise as well. And there is a really cool third act when we end up finding out that this is actually a prequel. But there is still some stuff holding this film down for me. The CGI deaths and the way this film looks, it still does look almost just as bad as the Final Destination. And also the characters, I just don't connect with any of them. I didn't really think the actors or actresses did a bad job or anything like that. It's just, for me, I don't care about any of these characters, and like I said, it is for me just a step up above the Final Destination. Coming in at number 4, we have Final Destination 2. This one might be a little bit of a hot take. I do enjoy this film, and from here on up, these are Final Destination films that I completely enjoy and I love returning to. Final Destination 2, for me, the reason it's just here like lower is just because it's more of a copycat of just the first film, which does make it a very comfortable and an easy watch. But I don't like our lead actress as much. I actually think her performance is quite bad in this film, but the deaths, they up the ante. The intro premonition is definitely probably still today one of the best and easily best intros to this entire franchise. So Final Destination 2 does have some very bright moments, and it's hard for me to argue anybody that does have this higher up on the list, because like I understand their love for it. I can see the admiration for this film. It's just, for me, it's not one of the Final Destination films that pulls me back in to rewatch it over and over. I wouldn't mind returning to this film. Like I said, I do enjoy this one. It's just there's 3 other films in this franchise that I highly enjoy more. Before we get down to the top 3, please like the video. That definitely helps out the channel, and share the video so you can get that love out there and share the content. That greatly helps out the channel. I appreciate you. Now, coming in at number 3 is going to be Final Destination 3. This one I was teeter and totting. Number 2 and number 3, where I was like, this was the hardest ones for me to place. But Final Destination 3 is going to land here at the number 3 spot. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is probably one of the strongest leads, and even her co-lead, the male actor in here with her, I forget his name, but him and her have the best, I think, chemistry in terms of leads. This is a really cool cast to be around. This is another Final Destination film that I kind of brought up in my Bloodlines review that is actually really funny. I think in terms of comedy-wise, ones that I laugh at and I enjoy, and I think they're genuinely hilarious, it's Final Destination Bloodlines and Final Destination 3. And like I said, this one, they do have some awful CGI moments. This is the one where they started really introducing the CGI blood and CGI gore, but there still is some very good practical deaths in here, like the nail gun death. That's one of my favorites. We even have some cool CGI deaths though as well, like the engine coming into the back of the guy's head. Like there's some really iconic moments in this one. Like I said, for me, one of the funniest in the franchise. Now rolling in at the number 2 spot, the runner up to the top dog is going to be Final Destination Bloodlines. I thought this was a little bit of recency bias when I was looking at my ranking, and like I said, I switched 2 and 3 the most. Final Destination 3 and Bloodlines were the ones that I was switching around in my head the most, thinking which one do I really want to stick at this number 2 spot. And the reason I want Bloodlines here is because there's a couple reasons. It was a theater experience that definitely elevates it a lot, but this Bloodlines film, I love the scope of this film and what they were able to introduce, and Death's ginormous plan and the web and just the whole Bloodline scheme, the whole theme behind the story. I love it. It's such a huge film, but also a personal film because the family that we're following is a protagonist and it's all a family. We get connected to these characters. We care about them. And like I said, it's more personal and everything. And I think this film does a slam dunk job, and I can forgive more of the CGI moments in this one because Bloodlines just really did try to push the limits in terms of the deaths, in terms of the intro premonition too. So there's literally stuff they could not do on screen unless they had, 50 million extra dollars. But there is a number 1, the top dog, and for me, I think it's always going to be this first Final Destination film. This is a film that just marks a certain time for me as a horror fan. My Devon Sawa love is really strong. He's a great, final boy that I love being in movies. He's also like in the Chucky series. He ends up dying a lot in that series though, but just having Devon Sawa in it, like I said, around this time period, and what, like I said, this film introduced, it was such a cool idea. Still to this day, I'm so nostalgic when I return to this one. I love the character dynamics, and I feel like this first Final Destination film, after rewatching all the other ones and just seeing Bloodlines, it just affirms my feelings on this one because I think this one has a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of comedy, there's great chemistry between the characters, and there's dynamics that are different. You get a little bit of every character, you know what I mean? Someone that believes Alex. Clear's character is totally on board with Alex. Then we have, Carter, who is the skeptic and doesn't want death to control his life, doesn't believe in that entity. Then there's other people who surrender to it and actually believe Alex as well and want to use him in his premonition. So I think this one is a really good film, and I know the deaths, they really have been pushing the limits in the sequels. Some of the deaths in here, they do feel dated, but like I said, when you watch them, they're all practical, and just the way death is. I am such a slasher fan, and that's a big subgenre of horror that I really enjoy, and I feel like this is the most serious, the scariest one, and the one where I feel like death was mostly a slasher or portrayed that way. I hope you guys enjoyed this Final Destination ranking video. Of course, these are just my opinions and my thoughts on the franchise. I really do love this franchise, and the fact that we had Tony Todd in Bloodlines improvising his lines and having that moment to really say goodbye and send love and really tell us as audience members, cherish the time you have. And that's really what is so amazing about the Final Destination franchise, is that these films really just call to enjoy every moment of your life. Death is always there. Death is always a friend or your cousin, or it's always right next to you kind of thing. You know what I mean? In terms of it's hovering over you, but use that to enjoy your life, to cherish moments with your friends and your family, and also use it to recognize dangerous moments and times when you should be not on a plane, or when you feel that angst or you feel something deep inside you. Maybe trust your gut. That's why I like the Final Destination franchise, because these are all things that call to home, that really speak to us as audience members. And I think this franchise will always be great. And the fact that Bloodlines is doing so well and getting such rave reviews, that I think we are definitely going to be getting a 7th film in this franchise. But please like the video. It definitely helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and have that notification bell poked so you're notified anytime I drop a video. But most importantly, I want y'all to have a safe and happy day. Peace out.